Hey everyone, it's time for more math, right, Fozzie? Yeah, more math. We're going to divide more polynomials. You tell them, bud. You tell them. All right, so we're going to pick off where we left off a little bit yesterday, but instead of monomials, we're going to start to do binomials, right? Yeah, you see us in the camera? What are you doing over there? All right. I'll try to be a lot faster this time. We took a lot of your time yesterday, which we're thankful for, by the way. But we're going to try and make it a lot faster and hopefully even more concise. And yeah, and that way you have more time to finish yesterday's if you didn't already and work on today's. All right. All right, everyone. So we are going to be dividing this binomial, or binomial with you. So it's very similar to what we did yesterday, but we're mostly just worrying about the first term. However, you'll notice something that's a little different that we need to fix is the fact that it's not quite in order yet. So we're going to put this in standard form. And remember, I kind of told you the zeros are going to come back into play. If you're missing a term in the sequence, it's going to be represented by 0. This is important when long dividing because I think it'll make sense more when we do it, but basically it's going to be subtracting from the term, that term and the term after it, and if you skip a turn, then it's not going to follow the right pattern, and basically it's going to be off. And basically, even though that's 0, once it's being subtracted or divided, it could change into a number depending on the binomial. Sorry about that. I might have to move this camera. I tried to get a better angle, but maybe it's worse in certain ways. All right, so it's going to look like this. Again, very similar to what we did yesterday. We are just, it's now a binomial instead of just a monomial. So let's see what this looks like. So I have to consider how many times does x go into 3x to the third? I'm just worried about my first term of both. And x goes into 3x to the third 3x squared amount of times. Now remember last time where it was like if a number went into it 3 times, or even if you just thought that 3x squared amount of times, that's because 3x squared times x would be 3x cubed. So that's how many times it would go into it. But we have to consider the other number too. So this is what we call, you're going to multiply the binomial. I said it's what we call, I'll figure it out on the next slide, but it's like McDonald's never or doesn't make, it's DMSBR, or I think the R comes later, so I'm trying to think. Does McDonald's sell burgers? Does McDonald's sell burgers? That's it. Does McDonald's sell burgers? So, does the D is divide. Another way to think about it is dad, mom, brother, sister. Now, obviously, all families don't work like that. I unfortunately have another brother. I've been trying to get rid of him, but that's a whole other story. All right, but we're going to divide, and in this case, 3x squared is divide. Multiply, so we're going to multiply our binomial, and this is what we get. So 3x squared times x minus 2 is 3x to the third minus 6x squared. So our multiplying isn't going away. We're going to be using this, and then this is going to be used for what we're going to do Thursday, and then that's going to be used for another week or two. So hopefully you're doing good and you're caught up and this is all clicking. All right, so now we're going to subtract. I meant sister brothers. Sell burgers. Sell burgers. Does McDonald's sell burgers? And 3x to the third, the first term should always cancel out. And then 4x squared minus 6x squared, or minus, oh my goodness, minus, that's going to be plus. So it's going to be 10x squared. And then the B for burger or brother is to bring down. So we're going to bring down the 0 and the plus 10. And now we're back to our x. So how many times does x go into 10x squared? It goes into it 10x times. 10x times. So 10x, that's our divide. And now our multiply, our m, our McDonald's, we're going to multiply that to x minus 2, and we get 10x squared minus 20x. Now, this is why the 0 is important, because you don't want to subtract that from the 10. It's going to throw off our last number. You want to subtract that from the 0. So we're going to subtract. Now, keep an eye out. It's another minus. That is going to make it plus, remember? So this is going to be plus 20. And then we bring down the 10. Now, how many times does x minus 2 go into 20x plus 10? It goes into it 20 times. So now we're going to do our multiply. 20 times x minus 2 is 20x minus 40. And now, again, we're going to subtract. And this is where the r comes in. You can think about it as, does McDonald's sell burgers rare? Or the other saying for the dad, mom, sister, brother, and then Rover, as in the dog. But if that works better for you, go for it. My dog's name is Fozzie. So I guess for me, you can think fraction, because we are going to be putting our remainder in fractions. So the top is mostly right, but then you would tack on this plus 50 over x minus 2. So our final answer would look like this. So hopefully that's not too overwhelming for you. I'm going to teach you an easier way Thursday. I'm going to do a few more examples like this with you. But you just have to take it slow, take it one step at a time. If you want to go back and take notes on this, just take it one step at a time, do your best, but the long division usually works out pretty well for these type of problems. Fozzie said he wanted to help with the next one, but these are getting to be too big of numbers for him to count on his little toe beans, right? Yeah. All right, well, we are going to do negative y squared plus 2y to the third plus 25 divided by y minus 3. But you might notice right away that we need to put it in standard form, and we need to fill in the blanks wherever we're missing anything in the pattern. So in this case, it's going to look like 2y to the third minus y squared plus 2y plus 25. Now the second, it's going to look like this. All right, if you want to try it on your own quick, you can. Pause the video, and then I'll go over it with you, obviously. All right, if you're rebellious or if you are coming back to me, welcome back. And let's go through it. So, again, we're going to divide how many times, or 2y to the third divided by y. How many times does it go into it? It goes into it 2y squared amount of times. So we're going to multiply that to y minus 3, and we get 2y to the third minus 6y squared. Now again, we're going to subtract, but it's going to be another minus minus. I know we don't like our minus minus. Now notice this is negative up here too. So it's going to be like -1 plus 6 or 6 minus 1. Either way is going to be correct. And that gives us a good old 5y squared. And then we brought the rest of this down. So now we just want to either think about what's 5y squared divided by y, or what, goes into it. And it would be 5y. And now we're going to multiply 5y by our y minus 3. And that gives us 5y squared minus 15y. Now, remember, it's minus minus, so it's plus. And again, this is where you could have messed up. If you try this on your own, you gotta fill in any gaps. You want it to go in descending order. So this was a 4. You want it to have a 3, 2, kind of a 1, an invisible 1, and then 0, or just a variable by itself. Now, this gives us positive 15, and then we bring the 25 down. Now we want to think, how many times does y minus 3 go into 15y plus 25? And we know at least the first term, it's going to be 15. So when we multiply 15 times y minus 3, that gives us 15 minus y minus 45. We subtract that, again it's plus plus, and that gives us 70. Now, remember, with our remainders, we are going to turn that into a fraction. You can think, like I said, F for Fozzie, or basically R for Rover, anything like that. Our remainder, well, we said in the past you'll see it written in different ways. The way we're going to write it is as though we're still dividing this into the 70, but as a fraction. And so it's going to be 70 divided by y minus 3. 70 divided by y minus 3 would give us that final bit. So our final equation, if we divided these two, is 2y squared plus 5y plus 15 plus 70 divided by y minus 3. So I think that one works out nicely. Hopefully you're getting the rhythm of these. We can do 1 or 2 more, and I'll show you some examples from the book. And then, like I said, I'll try and make this video a lot shorter than the last one. And hopefully the audio is better with me being down here closer to the mic. And hopefully this mic is decent. All right, so same idea. And guess what? It's already in order. So we don't even have to worry about that. And then our binomial goes in the front, or whatever's at the bottom of the division sign is going to go in the front. And then our main polynomial in the middle. So think about x to the third divided by x. That's x squared. So that's our divide, or our does. And then McDonald's, our multiplying. We're going to multiply x squared times x plus 2. And that gives us x to the third plus 2x squared. That's awesome, because when we do our next step, sell or subtract, everything's going to cancel out. All we're left with is 0x squared. And how many times does x go into 0x squared? Nothing. Nort. 0. Z. Whatever you want to call 0. And then we kind of move into our next term, which is negative x minus 2. How many times does negative x go into x? Negative 1. Negative 1 amount of times. And that gives us a remainder of 0. Because again, remember, the negative is plus. So our remainder is 0. So we don't even have to really write a fraction this time. That is our final answer. And that one's a nice one. All right, hopefully that it's clicking, and now I can show you one from the book. Now this one looks scary at first because there's a negative 1 as an exponent. I briefly mentioned this in the last video. You're going to see this pop up for this section. Remember, anything to the negative first, it's really saying you're dividing by that number. Or usually you'll see it brought to the bottom of an equation, like into a fraction. But think about it. When you have something that's squared, that means you're multiplying it by that twice. If it's negative squared, you're dividing by that twice. So negative 1, we're just dividing by that, and it's a monomial, so hopefully this will be a breeze. All right, so I'm just kind of clicking through some of what the book had, but I added into bits. They, similar to what I did yesterday, they broke it into 2 parts, or this should be a plus, if I'm looking at this right, because this is not an equation. This should be plus. And then they're going to make their fractions even simpler. I did something like this yesterday too, where you're seeing that you're going to do 4 minus 1, 3 minus 1, and so on and so forth. They're kind of canceling out how many they have on the top versus the bottom. And then you're going to do 24 divided by 6, 18 divided by 6, and 30 divided by 6. And you get 4ab squared plus 3ab minus 5b squared. So that one shouldn't be too bad. The main reason I include it in here is because you're going to see that to the negative first power, or an exponent of negative 1. All it means is that you're going to divide in this case. All right, so we're going to divide. This one's going to be just like the ones we just did, just using similar formatting to the book, but I added it a little bit. So we are going to see how many times x goes into x squared and goes into it x amount of times. So that leaves, and then x times x plus 4 is going to be x squared plus 4x. We're going to subtract that. Now, a negative minus a number makes it more negative. So this is going to become negative 9x. And then we're going to bring down the 36. Now, how many times does x go into negative 9x? Negative 9 amount of times. So we're going to multiply negative 9 times x plus 4, and we get negative 9x minus 36. So this works in our favor because when we subtract it, everything's going to turn positive, or like the minus minus will make it plus. So again, we get a remainder of 0. So that one's a nice one. So just basically the answer was, oh, I can't go back. But that was our final answer then, no plus a fraction or anything like that. So we're going to do the same idea. I believe this one does give us a fraction. Oh, no, it doesn't. This one was one I was going to let you guys try on your own if you'd like. So feel free to pause, try it on your own. I'm not going to do this one with you. I'm just going to give you the answer. So go ahead and pause if you'd like to, and I'll see you in just a minute. Okay. Well, I will just tell you the answer. X plus 4. So hopefully 14. I'm trying to look more at the camera so that it's less weird, but I missed that it was a 14 for a second. Yeah, let me know if you wanted me to go through that one, but I'm thinking that one is mostly an easy one, and hopefully it clicked, because it shouldn't have a remainder either. Alright, so let's look at this one. This one I believe does give us a remainder, but we're just going to take it step by step, and I think that's good practice for what remainders will look like. So 3z to the third divided by z, or just thinking about how many times does that go into z, 3z squared. Now, to figure this out, or figure out the next step, we need to multiply 3z squared times z minus 5. 3z squared times z will be 3z to the third minus 15z squared. Now we're going to subtract that from what we already have. Remember, the minus minus will be plus, so we're left with z squared minus 7z. And remember, I got that negative 7z because I brought it down from the top. And now z goes into z squared, z amount of times. That's what I'm going to be getting very soon, because it's actually late-ish for me at the moment. I'm going to be getting z's. And so that's plus z, and then z times z minus 5 is z squared minus 5z, and then remember, the minus minus makes it plus 5, this makes it plus 5, and so negative 7 plus 5, or think about it as 5 minus 7 will be negative 2z plus 3. Now, how many times does z go into negative 2z? Negative 2 times. Now, negative 2 times z minus 5 is negative 2z plus 10. 3 minus 10 is going to be negative 7. So our remainder is negative 7. So this is going to be our final answer. This will be our final answer. Now, I'm going to let you try the assignment on your own, because I can do a couple more of these, but it's going to be the same idea every time, and I'm hoping it's clicking. But one thing I want you to note is on like 2 of the questions, maybe 3, this should be the answer. If this does not work, try this. I don't know why this is sometimes the case when this is right, but sometimes it flips the end, and some of those are the right-in ones. I tried to avoid those after I caught it, but I think you might have some like that. So if you're quite confident in your answer and it doesn't work the first try you click it, try flipping the last piece. But yeah, now just a word from today's sponsor. Photomath. Don't use it. Don't use it. Because, like I said, if you've already been using it at this point, now that adding, subtracting, and multiplying are all part of division, and then that's going to be a part of the next part, which is synthetic division, which leads into our way of solving for zeros. And you're just going to get caught into a bad habit, and I'm not going to let you use your phone on quizzes or tests, and just try your best. You have hopefully plenty time left of class. You'll have some time tomorrow. I'll try not to make the videos for Thursday, Friday too long. So just try your best, okay? All right. Well, overall, have a great day. Message me if you need anything. I'll still be around. By the time you're watching this one, I'll probably be at the hospital. But I should have my computer and everything like that, so I can answer any messages or try to help in any way. So keep me updated. I hope you're doing well. I hope, please be respectful to the sub, and I'll see you guys soon. All right, bye.